disaster risk and climate resilient projects. So this was specifically for Bacan and Puli. So they experienced significant and frequent floods during the monsoon season. In these countries, Vietnam, Cambodia, we do have these specific problems. So one of the things that the CDIA intervention did was to have a feasibility study together with the preliminary engineering design of drainage and flood management infrastructure. So it's important also to mention that in developing the project preparation study, a couple of innovations were really integrated into this specific project, which includes, I've read in one of the assignment MST, like inclusion of the park and the surface water, for example, surface water facility, and then coming up with a park facility for which will be done, which is going to be useful for the Southeast Asian countries, particularly during the monsoon season. So that one, so this is implemented by the French Development Bank. Another project, if we're gonna go on the next one, this is my favorite because this is my project, the Green and Resilient Affordable Housing Advisory Project. I just wanted to quickly mention that we do face a lot of challenges. If I'm going to repeat again what I've mentioned earlier, looking at the holistic picture, not just building the housing it per se, in the selection of the materials, in the transportation of the materials, in the construction methodology, in the design, in the selection of these specific sites, those things should be considered when it comes to implementing projects. These are the things that we faced. These are the challenges that we faced in Bhutan, because there are various plots that was given as the project site, but which does not meet the requirement for a green and resilient affordable housing. Why? Because, the specific understanding on what is green and what is resilient is not really cascaded towards the other agencies involved in the identification of the site. So what we saw is really a concern on urban planning. Number two, looking at policy frameworks relating to housing, which can involve potentially the building code, among other things. So this should be a holistic view. What we did here is an advisory project towards the implementation of the green and resilient affordable housing, which was set to build 1,000 housing for non-civil servants. So it's really interesting because when we looked at the demographic profile of those who actually rent this affordable housing, they rent the rate of their rent is actually 40%, which is above the international standards of 30%. So we try to understand, the different factors underlying why it's so high and why and how we can further support the national government in the construction and really developing the housing sector in Bhutan, which is really focused on the non-civil servants also, as well as the low income low income earners in Bhutan. All right, another one on the next slide. Oh, so I think this is the question that OSD wanted to look into. So it's again very, very easy. We just wanted to get your impressions and your experience on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest and 5 being the most challenging. So how challenging do you find meeting investor criteria for climate financing?
Again, I think if the QR code is not working, you can just put in the chat box. I think 1 to 5 quickly. I think then we can just go through. We can only have like around 2 minutes
Oh, yeah.
for that.
Okay.
But I think, Catherine, if we could stay also during the presentation from Tbilisi, I think it's
Yes.
also would be great. So mayors, 1 to 5. Just quickly to gauge on where we are now. 3 from Mayor Chandragiri. 4
4
from Turbat. 3 from Isma, Nepal. So mostly 3 to 4 seems.
Mm. Yeah, just wanted to quickly respond, I mean, react to this one. Yes, indeed. I don't think we ever have encountered, at least me working with the city, it's always a challenge. I think a lot of the factors that I have discussed earlier and mentioned, which I know everybody already knows about it, on the accessibility and on the sustainability component, the financial component aspect of structuring and developing a project, making sure that the project is ready before it can be implemented. That's something that they look into. Hence, we need to come up with a feasibility study or pre-feasibility study or business case for you to be able to justify that this is something that not just the city needs, but it's something that can be done in partnership with the investor or the private sector. So with that,
I think we have one last question that I actually wanted the mayor to answer. It's your very last question. What kind of support that they actually, I think it's really helpful for us also to identify, what kind of support that would be most beneficial to improve your readiness for financing. I'm really curious on what actually it is like, especially those who have identified that the level 3 to 4 on how to meet the investors. So it's technical, the options are technical assistance, capacity building, access to data, networking with investor or others. Again, if it's, I think it's difficult to just filling in, just type in the chat for that. So Kathleen can get an idea of what kind of support that's actually.
Your feedback is really important to us because we also, try to customize our support to the needs. So we do need to understand, what are the specific needs that will be really. So at the end of the day, it's really case to case basis. There's no, I mean, for our experience, it's really, it depends on the country. But bottom line is that in all of the years that I have worked with local governments, it's always the one thing that has been really constant is having the champion. So the mayors do play a very big role in the success and implementation of a specific project.
Technical assistance
Technical
from mayors.
assistance. Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think to start with leadership and the champions, it's already like if you it's already a good starting point. Mayor Isma also go with the technical assistance. Okay. Networking with investors. That's what Dr. Ani from Ampang Jaya mentioned.
Sometimes that's why it has benefits when we attend some, the forums, networking forums. There's also benefit to that one. And I would just like to quickly flag also that we are going to be attending the World Urban Forum in Egypt in November 4 to 8. So if we have mayors attending, please, we would love to meet you there in Egypt on November 4 to 8. So that's one of the things also, networking with investors for them to really, it's the same thing, to have an impression on what are your aspirations, what are the projects that you are working on, and you can discuss this with them, how you can develop, and then what are the support that is available for you for a specific project. So with that, I thank you. I thank everyone. Thank you very much for your time and for this opportunity.
Thank you very much,
to share.
Kathleen.
Yes. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this. Then we'll move to the next speakers. I think we have already Dr. Junko Akagi in the audience. So Dr. Akagi is been working with ICH's Kitakyushu Urban Center as a research manager. She has a lot of work also on the greenhouse gas inventory aspect of the Japanese governments, and so she has an experience on the green GHG inventories both at the national and local level. But today we heard from her about the city-to-city collaboration and GCM project preparation and implementation. So this is different type of projects that maybe the city can tap into for implementing their initiative or other part, the initiative that they were thinking in the city. Dr. Atagi, if you wish to share your screen, that also works, but then we have also support here to move the slides if that also easier for you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Junka Akagi, as introduced by Oki-san. Yes, I've been working on the local decarbonization or low carbon city or zero carbon city development last 10 years or so. So today I'd like to introduce kind of Japan's initiatives for promoting cities decarbonization or carbon neutral cities. Okay, let's keep on just doing, please. Yeah, next one. Okay, so today I'd like to introduce two programs led by the Japanese government. One is Joint Crediting Mechanism, JCM, that's the central government stuff. And the second one is the city-to-city collaboration for zero carbon society, that is also called City-to-City Collaboration Program, or just C3P. Okay, next one, please. Okay, let me begin with the Joint Crediting Mechanism, JCM. That's Japan's initiative for promoting technology and knowledge transfer to developing countries. And objectives are decarbonization and market mechanism implementation. It's under the Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, and also sustainable development goals. And here I indicated the scheme, program scheme on the left-hand side. As you can see, there are two countries, Japan and partner country. It's a kind of bilateral agreement. Then the low carbon or zero carbon projects are implemented in the partner country by introducing a kind of advanced low carbon or zero carbon equipment or services proposed by the Japanese company. Then the subsidy is also coming from the Japanese government, maximum 50% of the introduced equipment in the partner country. So the benefit for the partner country is introducing high-end equipment with a reasonable cost, because the Japanese government financially support this equipment introduction in the partner country. And the JCM projects are implemented in the partner country, and the reduced greenhouse gas emissions are measured and reported and verified. Then the reduced amount of greenhouse gas emissions will become the JCM credits and shared between these countries. And these two countries can use these JCM projects to achieve their nationally determined contributions, the greenhouse gas emission reduction targets set under the Paris Agreement to achieve their goals, midterm goals under the Paris Agreement. And by now, as you can see on the right-hand side, 29 countries have established partnership with Japanese government, and the Japanese government is still trying to expand this network. Next, please. And as I mentioned, the financial support, it goes to the equipment and services to reduce energy-related CO2 emissions. So unfortunately, the financial scheme doesn't go to the equipment that results in reducing methane or nitrous oxide emissions, only energy-related CO2 emissions. It means that the CO2 coming from like burning fossil fuels and that kind of stuff. And examples of the target sectors are like energy efficiency, this pink color one, then effective use of energy, like yellow one, renewable energy, these green ones, a lot of case studies in JCM model projects, and transportation sector or waste handling and disposal and so on. And as I mentioned before, the subsidy rate is maximum half of the initial costs of these equipments. Next, please. And so far, nearly 250 projects have been established as JCM model projects in 29 partner countries. So basically all partner countries, at least one or more projects have been established. And top runners are like Vietnam or Indonesia, Thailand, and so on. They have so many projects, JCM projects established over the last decade since 2013. And this number is still increasing. Next, please. So the flow of the financial support is like that. This support goes to the Japanese company. Here is a scheme introduced. The Japanese company get the financial support from the Ministry of the Environment, but the project itself is implemented jointly by the international consortium. This one, on the right-hand side, basically Japanese entity A, it's usually company, then JCM partner country entity B. So it's usually company, but that can be also a local government if they can join this kind of project. So these international consortium developed the project. Then Japanese entity A developed the project proposal, and submit to the Japanese government. And once it's accepted, the projects are implemented in the partner country. Then the subsidy goes to the Japanese entity A, and this money is used for introducing the equipment in the partner country. So unfortunately, the entity B needs to take care of their financial care for introducing the equipment. But of course, they have benefit because they can introduce high-end product with a reasonable price because of this subsidy. So again, consequently, the emission reduction is monitored, then it becomes the JCM credits and shared between Japanese and partner countries. And on the right-hand side, I introduced the project development phase. Of course, before this JCM application stage, there is usually feasibility study. So it needs to be done usually by the Japanese company A, and often together with in the partner country, then implemented. And next, I would like to introduce the city-to-city collaboration program. That is the program used as a subsidy, feasibility study phase for the JCM project development. So it's again the Japanese government financial support for the feasibility studies of potential JCM projects. And currently 20 projects, this city-to-city collaboration program, city-to-city collaboration projects are funded annually, so implemented in a year. And the studies are implemented under the intercity collaboration framework, like sister city or MOU agreement, or even with a letter of intent that suffices too. And also private partnership, public-private partnership manner. And here is a program outline. It's quite small, but it indicates that between these two cities, they kind of make an agreement to implement this program together. And once it's accepted, it lasts for at least 3 years. Then they aim to create zero carbon projects. Then also designing kind of local systems to promote zero carbon societies, like plan development or policy dialogues and that kind of stuff. And simultaneously transferring know-how and conducting capacity building for local staff. So it's a kind of try to bring the multi-benefits to increase the capacity of the partner city or regions. And in this way, we can create zero carbon societies together in an efficient manner. And as I mentioned, it's a kind of feasibility study phase for JCM, but at the end of the project, a program, it doesn't have to go to the JCM project. That can be goes to the JICA projects or even the private sector project, any kinds, or UN project, that's also okay. But of course, the Japanese government wants to have more JCM projects, so that's the kind of priority, but doesn't necessarily to be the only exit strategy of this collaboration program. Next one, please. And as I mentioned, this program tries to bring multi-benefit by involving or promoting multi-stakeholder approach. So on the right-hand side, the Japan and partner country, it's a bilateral agreement. The top one is national government stage. The middle one is a kind of local government agreement, intercity collaboration agreement. Then on the bottom, it indicates the companies in those two countries or cities. And usually there is a company which is coordinating these city-to-city collaboration projects. Usually like consulting company or research institute and so on resides in Japan, but the project itself is implemented in the partner city. And the benefit of this program, as I mentioned, it's not only the technology transfer between companies, but it involves local government in Japan and also partner cities. So try to bring a kind of package support, technical support, and also policy support together. And in this way, try to make the local more creating decarbonization cities in an efficient manner, or it can also bring the zero carbon city by promoting waste management or pollution control or capacity building and more. That's the concept of the city-to-city collaboration program. So next one, please. And so far, the network has been expanding. Nearly 50 cities and regions are involved in 13 countries and together with 20 Japanese municipalities. Next one, please. And so far, 25 JCM projects have been established from the city-to-city collaboration program. It's mainly Asia Pacific region, but also Chile. It's also the JCM partner country. So one project is also established in the South America. Next one, please. Here I show you the case study, but it's too small. But if you have time, please check out our pamphlet. It's available on the website. Next one, please. I just focus on the one case study of this city-to-city collaboration program between Ehime Prefecture of Japan and Gorontalo Province, Indonesia. And they concluded the MOU in 2022, but as far as I know, the local universities, both in Ehime and Gorontalo, had a kind of research collaboration since almost 10 years ago. So they have kind of a long history, but they, with this foundation, they somehow came up to the MOU conclusions between these two local governments. And they agreed to promote the zero carbon society together in Gorontalo province and simultaneously promote the kind of environmental cooperation projects together to improve their living environment. So it includes, like on the right-hand side, like leachate treatment project at final disposal site, or domestic wastewater treatment project, or exchange projects in agriculture and fisheries fields, or green hospital plan. which are all based on the local needs. So they are somehow not the project implementation stage at this moment, but at least they are trying to find out the way to implement or develop the project together. Next one, please. So it's a complicated scheme, but basically the top one is Ehime Prefecture, the kind of pale or orange one, and Gorontalo Province. And the Gorontalo Province has various challenges in their environment, and they make agreement. Then the concrete project feasibility studies are implemented by the private sector, listed on the bottom hand side. It's basically an energy saving project at this moment, but it also tries to, implement any projects that address the environmental challenges in Gorontalo province. Next, please. So the success factors of this program it's a kind of basic information, but mutual understanding, like good communication, that's very essential, and multi-stakeholder approach, and vision sharing, and characteristics of the cities may also sometimes affect, like, large city, metropolitan, and small rural area doesn't match their needs. So kind of similar scale or similar characteristic of the city partnership helps a lot. And next one is the, of course, joint implementation. Okay, so the communication with stakeholders, data collection, momentum creation, and sometimes laws and regulations may be necessary to implement in an effective way. Next, please. This is just for your information. We have been promoting, the IGS has been collaborating with the Ministry of the Environment to promote network development and also capacity building opportunities for cities, like every year. But this target is only for the member cities currently joining this city-to-city collaboration program. One is a high-level session or closed workshop. It's a brainstorming workshop together with local government officials in Japan and also partner cities, and also private companies from mainly Japan. And also last year, we also involved national government officials from partner countries as well. Then try to find out, identify the challenges to introduce environmental infrastructure in partner cities. And the last one is a site visit. We arranged a short tour for the partner cities to really look at the Japanese urban infrastructures to gain the concept or the implementation field. So next seminar will be coming up in January next year, Osaka, Japan, and only open seminar can be, viewed online. So if you find this website, please just, join from your city and get ideas what kind of activities are going on under this program. Next, please. And how to join this program? It's a kind of not easy way to join on board. But basically, please try to find the Japanese partners. So like consultation with your Japanese acquaintance, like sister cities, that's the easiest way, I think, if they are interested in doing the collaboration project together, or business partners, like Japanese consultation companies also, or just contact me. I'm not sure how much I can help you, but at least I can give you more ideas or consultations online, or consultation with your local stakeholders who have connections with Japanese stakeholders, or identify local needs and potential projects, and learn policy and synergy and so on. And learn more about the program, please just access to these URLs, and you can learn more about this program and also JCM initiatives, the government of Japan. Okay, that's, I think, the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Akagi. I think I would like to open the floor a little bit, for a couple of minutes for the mayors if they have questions to Dr. Akagi.
Yes.
Or clarifications regarding the information that she has shared with us. For my side, just to clarify, for the city-to-city collaborations with GCM, there is this number of 29 countries where the Japanese government has agreement with the country partners. But for the city-to-city collaboration, is that my understanding is correct that there is such no limitations of the countries, or it does?
Yes, exactly. Thank you for your question. Of course, the preference goes to like 29 JCM partner countries, the cities located in these 29 countries. But it's not limited to those only 29 countries. For example, Malaysia, it's not the member state of JCM program, but still there are some cities from Malaysia join this city-to-city collaboration programs. So there is no such limitations. But of course, it's a Japanese government initiative. So sometimes they have certain priorities based on their policy, government policy. So sometimes, like for example, last couple of years, they are pushing like in India or Brazil and that kind of countries, but it changes year by year.
Okay. There is a question from Mayor from ISMA. Is Nepal a member in the slides? I understand it's not yet, right? Nepal?
Nepal.
I think it's not yet. But I mean, like for the GCM, it's not yet. But I think if, as Dr. Akagi mentions, there's sort of like for the city-to-city collaboration, there is a room even for the country who's not part of the GCM.
Yes.
We have also mayors from India, and I also noticed that in the city-to-city collaborations, you have also cities from India.
Yes, exactly. So if it's basically justifiable, any kind of project, yes, if it's successfully convincing Japanese government it's worth investing their projects, then they just accept.
Mayor Annie, please.
Hi,
Yes.
good afternoon. I'm from Malaysia, Panjaya Municipal Council. I would like to know, the application for joint city JCM just now. So, who is going to assess the application? And what is the terms of reference for the application? Is it in the website also?
You mean the city-to-city collaboration program?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the local government in the partner city. Like in case of Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur City, and also Iskandar, Malaysia, they also are the member of this program.
So what kinds of project they embark on?
Like for
Iskandar Regional Authority, right?
Yeah, exactly, ILDA.
Yeah, IRDA. What types of program they embark on?
I think they developed the kind of so-called zero carbon city blueprint or something like that. Then they kind of have a list of projects they want to implement, and they get a support from either Kitakyushu City or Toyama City of Japan. And they, as far as I know, implement it like improving the waste management, solid waste management treatment projects, for example, and also the in improving the energy efficiency of buildings, the commercial buildings.
So they get the funding for, the end product of the funding is actually come out with the blueprint for waste management, something like that?
Yes, but it's a funding support, not directly goes to the project implementation, but it's basically the feasibility studies the kind of more preliminary ones. But through this kind of feasibility study implementation, I think both Japanese partner member and also local members get to know or gain more knowledge or the project development know-how and so on. So it results in like capacity building
So
of
you
the
mean
project development.
so on the Japanese local partner, it's like JICA, Japanese International Cooperation Authority, something like that. So we have to collaborate with JICA, and then we can apply for the funding, right?
I think JICA is one of the potential, contact
Partner.
organization because it's a Ministry of the Environment initiative, but they have close contact with JICA local office. So they kind of share the information or access together. So as an initial contact, JICA local office would be nice because they should know this program too.
Meaning that we need to join or connect with JICA. After that, we can apply for that funding, right? So must
Yeah.
be the Japanese company must be in the picture, or the just Japanese organization must in the picture. After that, then we can collaborate with I guess something like that, right?
Yes. I mean, it's a little bit complicated because so many players are involved in this program. But basically what you have to do is find out a specific Japanese company who can coordinate this program. But the entrance can be like JICA local office because they usually have a lot of contact Japanese, consultation companies implementing projects in the local area. So they may also can coordinate this kind of projects for you.
So what types of funding that we can collaborate with, or what types of funding that we can get from this application? Is it one grant funding, and how much is it? It depends on the project.
No, actually, the money doesn't goes to your country, unfortunately.
Okay,
In both
okay.
cases, JCM or C3P, just the money goes to the Japanese company who conducts the
Okay,
coordination or
see.
study.
Okay,
And
okay,
then,
understand.
yeah, if the project is potential project is found, then apply to, like, for example, JICA or to ADB or to any kind of institutions, the funding agencies.
But the project, the duration of project depends on what types of project we would like to join with that Japanese company, right? The duration of the project is one off grant, or what? The funding for that.
Again, this city-to-city collaboration program, the maximum 3 years, but only for study. Then
For
within
study
that,
only. Understand?
okay. So after 3 years, you need to find another funding agencies to realize the projects, identified project.
So maybe if I can summarize, it's actually a funding for research, something like that, for 3 years, right? After that, we have to find a new allocation for implementation, right? So this funding is for research only for 3 years.
Exactly. For
Exactly.
this city-to-city collaboration program, yes.
How about the joint? Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, for the
Really?
JCM, it's actually the project funding. So it's one of the exit strategy of this C3P. But the duration, again, depends on the project type for the JCM. Like maximum 15 years or so. It's quite long.
Right. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very much, Mayor. There is one more question from Mayor Kazi, Dr. Akagi, if you still have time.
Yes.
Is it okay?
It's
Just a
okay.
quick question,
Hello.
and then yes, please.
I just wanted to ask you that Pakistan is not amongst the list of partner countries, and so it is not possible to be partner to acquire the opportunity of JCM partner countries. So we the other option is to city to city collaboration, but Turbat has no my city Turbat has no agreement with any Japanese cities. So how can I or my city approach uh, for the opportunity to deal with city to city?
Good question. Thank you very much. Of course, as I just mentioned, like sister cities and so on, because it's just easy even for Japanese local governments to justify their project, why they go abroad and do the project implementation. So that's the ideal case, but most of the cities do not have that kind of agreement in advance. So for example, sometimes I see that just it depends on the local needs. And if the cities in Japan have solutions, or companies have solutions and try to use this scheme, they just try to, the Japanese company coordinator tries to connect one potential city of Japan for you, although there is no relationship at this moment. For example, the potential solutions good for your city is available in, for example, Kita-Kyushu, where I live now. Then the company, then the coordinator contact Kita-Kyushu city if they can do this project implementation together to support the equipment deployment to your city, and the local government in Japan agrees, then just exchange letters of intent, then apply the proposal. Then if it's adopted, then project can be implemented. But of course, it lasts like next 2 or 3 years. Many cities try to establish more kind of official framework together, like letter of agreement or memorandum of understanding and so on. That's next phase maybe during the project implementation phase. But initially, actually any kind of entrance is there. But the important thing is try to find a key Japanese consulting company, or it can be JICA of local office, but try to just contact Japanese acquaintances.
It means
Thank
I
you.
have to identify my city problem first, and then
Mhm.
take that problem and go to JICA office and ask them to find a collaborating partner in Japan for my city.
Yes, because JICA also has their own programs too for creating clean urban development or something like that.
Japan,
So if they find your needs, if it's worth funding from JICA, then the JICA may support you. Or if it's more suitable for the Ministry of the Environment scheme, this city-to-city collaboration scheme, they just contact Moije if they can, the government of Japan can take care of it or not. So I think JICA local office is the first entrance from my point of view.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Akagi. I think we we take more from the time of your time for the question and answer. Really, thank you very much for a very
Okay.
informative session. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. See you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
So since we are a bit behind the schedule, I take the liberty to reschedule our break. So initially we would have the representative from the Tbilisi city coming in after the break, but now I think it's better to have since we are on the high of discussions here, so and then to have to shift the break a bit later. I hope you don't mind with this. So for the next 15 to 20 minutes, we will have Mr. David Jayani, who is the deputy head of Transport and Urban Development Agency from Tbilisi, Georgia. coming in and discuss his city experience in developing bankable projects with CDIA, I think on the livable city investment. So Mr. Jayani, yes, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your kind introduction, Mahesti, and good day, dear mayors, dear colleagues, dear partner ADBCDI representatives. It is our great honor to appear before this academy and talk about our very successful cooperations for which unfortunately I have only 15 minutes, but also maybe we can take some Q&A time. I represent Tbilisi Transport and Urban Development Agency to shortly introduce you to where we stand and who we are. Tbilisi is the capital of Georgia. Georgia, as you know, is situated geographically also between Asia and Europe, and is our city Tbilisi is the capital of Georgia, where a bit less than 1/3 of population of Georgia, of whole Georgia, is living. That makes it, other than it is a capital and political center, also a center for international cooperation, economic cooperation, and of course very densely populated. So we, since this current administration, current mayors administration arrived, we began to initiate mayor's new transport policy that was based on the sustainable hierarchy of the transport means, and this has been a first ever try for this city and also for Georgia, in Georgia, for that kind of development. Georgia is a post Soviet occupied country, so after dissolution of the Soviet Union, everything, including the city models and city designs, they were left as a car-based city that was that is still for us still a #1 priority to change, because of this situation and because we never had previously, because Georgia regained its independence in 1991. So previously we had no experience of building a sustainable transport city. Let's call it shortly this goal like that. And that is why it was super important for us and crucial, this kind of cooperation like we had with the CDIA, like we have generally with the Asian development banks. Lots of projects running, a lot more to be then to come, but also our international development banks, which we are working together, all the foreign governments. That is not only, and this I want to underline before I go to the next slide, that for us it is super important, and I'm pretty sure for many cities that are in this transition, that we not only talk about some infrastructure changes or financial aid or some loans, development loans, and this financial side, which is also super important for small countries like Georgia and cities, 1.5 million is my city, as I mentioned. But also it is super important to bring in the knowledge by itself and expertise, and to share this expertise between the members of the city administration or the transport agencies, as in my case. One of the, hereby I will mention that one of the reforms, one of the branches of the transport reform under the mayor's new transport policy was that this agency where now I'm sitting and representing was created. So this is a principal transport agency in the city, and this covers two very important and interrelated fields, which is urban development and transport development, so that we ensure, first of all, that citizens know where to address their problems which are related to the permissions, building permissions, or transport needs, or street designs or changes and rehabilitation and so on. And secondly, that transport development follows the urban development policy of the city. That sometimes is problematic. You are now on the slides. You have been as I said, I have to choose like some of the many projects, but this definitely has been our biggest project, because Tbilisi is a metro city. Between Tbilisi, now we are building a BRT, bus rapid transit system, and we are somewhere in the middle of it, because now already this year we have 18-meter buses which we have bought, and they are first ever in the city, running on the 10 main BRT corridors of this city. So now it was only 6 months ago that users of the and ridership generally on the bus system was more than the metro users. We have daily something like 500,000 metro users, and a bit more with buses and microbuses. So Tbilisi has always been a metro city. We have 2 lines of metro with 23 stations, and you know how of course how resource needed this direction is, and metro is, and under the Livable Cities investment program, we wanted somehow to make this system to make changes, to make like this system indeed livable. That was also at that point name of this program, because we wanted to give a new life to the metro, which was still highly used. The main aims was there to make new designs, to make a metro more accessible, including for PWDs, which is persons with disabilities. So that unfortunately during Soviet design, when these metros were built in 60s, 70s, unfortunately had been neglected at that point. Also, it is important that Tbilisi metros are quite deep metro stations. They are something like 45, 50, 55 meters deep, especially on the first line. So that is additional accessibility problem. That is why under this program we created first, it was the first try to think about installing elevators, to think about ramps, and additional and additional second entrances to certain mostly used, like highly used metro stations. Also we under this project we concepted the new signage for the whole metro, and improvement of the lighting systems. And as I said, all of this inside and outside the metro should help the accessibility to the metro, because you know, one thing is how metro operates by itself, and how users can move from one station to another, but absolutely important, crucial, I would say, is also how we get to the metro. Maybe it is more important at some point, because in the metro you definitely know that train will come in 3 minutes and you go from here to here in certain amount of time. But what hampers, what obstacles you will face on the street, that might not be easy to forecast. That is what we wanted to change. And under this project we drafted first the conceptual documentations for that. and very successfully, because after this, currently, and then unfortunately, of course, as pretty much everyone, I guess, in this academy, we had this COVID gap for 2 years. But after this, immediately we went into detailed design phase, and with the financial assistance of the ADB, currently we are already on this stage based on the CDIA project and concepts that were created. Now we went into conceptual design for certain rehabilitations inside and outside of the metro stations. And what is very important also, and what I mentioned, second entrances to the highly used, several highly used, one or maybe two that will be dependent on the finances that we will find, of the metro stations. Here, this is the infrastructural part of this most brilliant part of our cooperations. Very heavy. As I said, super important to Tbilisi, to the core of the Tbilisi mobility, which is metro and metro using metro for the mobility. Once again, I remind you, more than 500,000 of people, like 1.5 million, we have use metro every day. Another 500,000 is buses in our city. Other than this very important infrastructural project, here in my presentation, I also wanted to mention and have put our cooperation with having integrated experts and I will once again mention that here the background that I was talking about is super important, because you can imagine the situation that Tbilisi is a city which went out of the car-oriented planning of the city, and now is going towards the sustainable mobility. And we do not have at this point, especially when we began this cooperation, yes, for 6 years ago, we never had anyone here. We do not have, unlike some other countries, here Ministry of Transport, of Ministry of Urbanization, which will guide us towards I don't know, some standards and or some guidelines, some designs, model designs or sustainable designs, and so that we can use and replicate them. So we had to create all this all together here within the agency, within the Tbilisi City Hall. That is why the cooperation in this field, in knowledge sharing, in standard setting, in including integrating the experts, international experts, like highly qualified experts, well known to the world, I would say, was super important, not only for one or two particular project, and that is why we never call this part of our cooperation an infrastructural part, because of course after this cooperation product was also infrastructural, because we remade many junctions, we redesigned many streets and avenues. In Tbilisi provided lots of concepts for that, and of course from this angle this cooperation had an infrastructural product also. But what was more important for cities like us, which are in this green transition, let's call it, was that we had kind of a situation of a local inside in-job academy, I would say, in-job training, where my staff could on an everyday basis in this very meeting room where I am sit together, discuss ideas, see and understand how the standards, the designs, and the approaches that they have seen in certain, I don't know, trainings or some other cities where they have been, or maybe some presentations or the guidebooks, how they actually work and how they can be put on the streets of their own city. So this knowledge transfer, this expertise which was shared to my staff members, this was the key element of the sustainability. That is why our project with the CDIA was not only very crucial for our agency and the city, but generally as such, I would say, and I had many opportunities to mention it on many stages, including Transport Forum in Manila, to many people, that this kind of cooperation is super helpful, is one of the main, I would say, instruments that gives you this sustainability, like project sustainability at the end of the day. Because even though now there are no integrated experts, after CDIA project we continued with some other experts because it was super successful for us with CDIA. But now we do not have, after 6 years, 5 years, we do not have any integrated experts here, but we have the staff that were that exercised, that trained, as I said, like in-house training with the experts which were here, and now they can use this knowledge and they are doing it on an everyday basis. Yes, you know, the cases here are like coming and going. It's not that we are dealing with 1 or 2 cases, and this is how this standards, these sustainable approaches are replicated and used within the city. This was an amazing experience to us, and apart. Maybe in the, if we compare from the statistical point or with the figures, maybe these figures are not that important as for example figures that we have here, which I mentioned, that we began the metro rehabilitation project, and there will be, for example, 12 stations done from the inside. There will be 2 brand new entrances to the stations, or now also we have added since last year we are talking with our partners to also begin the exchange of the rolling stock for the metro. So financially, maybe this second direction of the project, which was having integrated expert, financially maybe is harder to assess, like the equal to the metro rehabilitation project, but but in content for the agency, for the city, when we talk about the sustainability project wise, it was super successful, and it is living. I would say till now, though our project is already several years closed, this is still living in the everyday work of our agency. And lastly, of course, about sustainability, I would like to mention that also with the cooperation with the ADB, we created and developed already since the beginning of the year, when the works have been finalized, the sustainable urban mobility plan of the city, a SAMP. It is the first ever SAMP for the city, and not only the format of this document is important, but that Tbilisi, due to the reasons that I mentioned, also never had a transport document, a transport strategy. So it was always a political situation that was changing the ideas, the plans of the city, and it's very good that many mayors are attending today this meeting, so they understand the situation that was also in Tbilisi. And now when we have the sustainable urban mobility plan, things can be really more sustainable, not only in the green perspective, but that everyone understands what projects are coming after what. It is staged out, it is phased out, it is very important not only for the local stakeholders or the mayors or the members of the city assemblies or other political stakeholders, but also international stakeholders and also the governmental stakeholders, which we are in touch with every day. And that is why that is where I want also to mention certain challenges to which I shortly dedicated one slide, and would like to share this experience also with you. We, as I said, the amount and the scale of the reforms that we have initiated under the mayor's new transport policy was vast, not only because of, once again, the financial assessments that, for example, we began, as I mentioned, this metro rehabilitation project, or now we are trying to get new rolling stock. But also we, for example, we changed the full fleet of the public transport buses and microbuses in Tbilisi. 1,000 microbuses have been changed, and 900 buses have been changed. So that is why in Europe, I do not know all the figures for many other countries, so that's why I'm now only comparing to Europe. We have the youngest fleet for public transport buses. It's only 3 years old average, because we changed all that, because the fleet that was serving the city was like really outdated, I would say. So it is not only this financial amount, but also many reforms has been begun in the directions like taxi reform, like parking reform, street design changes. So these reforms might you might think that they are, or the creating agency, so administrative reform, which I also mentioned. So these might be a paper reforms, a policy reforms, as some call them, but these were also very resource demanding, because what I said, because we needed more international experience, more international support, more expert sharing and knowledge transferring. That is why we always cooperate with the government of Georgia on an international
Mr.
level.
Jayani, I'm really sorry to cut. I think it would be nice to conclude a little bit so that we have question and answer sessions with our mayors.
One last minute, indeed. One last minute, that we always cooperate with our international partners, donors like ADB, EBRD, IFD, and many others, to which we are very proud and thankful that we have this working relations with them through the government of Georgia, because that is also the way for getting development loans and so on. And that is where it is very important to have the case like bulletproof case, I would say, so that we not only have to plead our case and take our case and defend our needs and goals in front of the, for example, mayor, deputy mayors, or internal stakeholders, but also the government of Georgia, and then foreign governments of international IFIs, which are helping, which are helping us with all that. So building up a case is also super important, where the expertise always helps, and that is why it is very significant to have inside integrated experts or some other kind of knowledge mobilized for these purposes. Thank you.
Very much. I think so much information, and I think we have
Yeah,
learned quite a lot.
it's
So I would like to open if mayors have questions for our Tbilisi representative. I think especially those are moving in developing projects, and then like what is like the key takeaway, what should be prepared, and how should we sort of like dealing with the investments for that.
So with as I said, we my suggestion or from our experience, of course, is this two points. First is the consistency, I would say. So we always try, and that is why I mentioned this urban mobility plan, which is a transport strategy by itself. And I also mentioned several times that all the projects that are running in the city, I mean, in my sphere, all the activities, they are summarized under one transport policy, which has certain goals, which has a clear clean or sustainable core, so to say, and that is why this is always this makes always easy for us to communicate with banks or IFIs or foreign governments or local government also, as I mentioned, which is a huge stakeholder in here also. So first, this is the consistency. That we show that what we need, what we are asking for, or what I don't know, we at this point need to bring in money for some infrastructure or some other case, it depends on the case, is not just a need for one, I don't know, deputy head of agency or head of the agency or mayor or deputy mayor, but it is a part of the policy, and it is the next step for implementing of the policies that everyone knows that is being implemented in the city. And second, for us, it is always a crucial point to defend and argue and present, so to say, to the relevant stakeholders how this or that international standard or approach or guideline or street design, for example, or second project, policy project. For example, we initiated, not to talk always on infrastructure, we initiated in the city first ever zonal hourly parking system. This was never functioning in Tbilisi. We initiated first ever taxi reform, registration for taxis, categories for taxis, and services related to it. So so it is always good to show to someone that something is working, I don't know, in Seoul or New York or Brussels or something, to which we have many examples, and it is easily presentable, but it is always a bit hard to show to them and then makes them sure how this will be put in Tbilisi, in Georgia, in the streets, behind them, in front of them, in front of their houses, how this will function, what the reactions might be.
Just to follow up on that, I mean, just to cut a bit, I'm sorry to do that. It's how often do you have like the stakeholder engagement taking place in terms of developing these projects, for example?
So,
was it
Yes, it depends on the project. For example, for the parking generally, this is a general issue. It is not that there are certain, I don't know, parking something association to which you talk. Yes, it's a general point. At this point, it's always policy decisions, and this is where mayors, deputy mayors, so all city assembly steps in and they talk that this is a
Okay.
policy issue. But there are also issues like, for example, taxi reform. Of course, there's this number of taxi users or taxi drivers that can be identified, and you can talk them a bit more with technicalities and technical
Okay.
figures, and it's like more technical talks, and we can also do that as we are a technical agency. But you know, transport is not always a so only democratic process. So if you tell to someone that in front of your house now you cannot stop the car and there will be a bus lane, you know, not everyone is happy with that. But that is why you have to explain to them the whole context, that if here we have a bus lane, this means the next stop, the bus will go to the next stop in a better timing and without delays, and
Yeah.
so the next
Totally
stop.
agree.
Yes, so
I think yeah.
this is a general challenge to everyone. I walk a lot and talk a lot with everyone, like I don't know, beginning from Washington to really to Japan, and this is a general
Yeah.
fight. It's a general struggle everywhere in every city. I would say, and this is how we are trying. Of course, it does not mean that this goes without opposition, and everyone immediately is happy that, oh, bus lanes, that is so great, or oh, bike lanes, that is so great that tomorrow you are taking one car lane out of my way. No, of course there is opposition, but what we can do is to explain why it is happening in a bigger picture. So this is it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jayani. I think that's really informative, and I took notes also on your lines on creating a bulletproof cases and showing
Yes, it
consistency,
is
as well as
important.
having, I think, one transport policy is really helpful. And the last lines that you mentioned also, we just discussed just now on, you know, like creating different strategy plan on discussing
Yes.
with different stakeholders. I think it's really important. We'll take
Absolutely.
it forward for the discussions with the mayor in the next sessions for their homework. I think I also take note lessons from Catherine's presentations earlier today. And thank you very much for coming to us and spend your
Thank you.
time. I think almost an hour. You've been also waiting for us
No
for
problem.
this agenda. Thank you very much. And
I was also listening, so it's no problem. It was my honor. Thank you very much, and wish you a very, very successful day also.
thank you very much. So for rest, I think we'll take break for another 5 minutes before, and then preparing for the mayor's presentations of their homework on the financing modality choice, and then we'll discuss in more details. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming back on time despite a very short break. For the next 30 minutes, maybe 28 minutes or so, let's discuss the homework that you have kindly prepared. So far we have received 4 homeworks from the mayors, but I maybe only 3 mayors with the homework that are available today. So I would like to invite each of the mayors to have like around 7 to 8 minutes presentation maximum, so that we can discuss the key takeaways from your homework, also incorporating the inputs that we have discussion earlier before these sessions. So at first, I would like to invite Mayor Annie from Pangjaya. Mayors, I'm really sorry. We always put you at think as the first presenters. I think it's because of the alphabetical names. But anyway, Happy if you ready to present, please.
Sorry, Miss. Can you give
Uh-huh.
another mayor first? I'm
Okay.
waiting for Miss. All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for letting me know. Is the Mayor Kasi available? Or Mayor? Yeah, I think.
Always available.
Okay. Can we move to the next one, please? There's Mayors. Yes, please. Mayors, you have around 7 minutes.
Yeah, I'll do it shortly.
Thank you.
So, financing strategy initiative, we will acquire 25% of revenue that by from our own revenue we will invest that on our initiative, and those 25% revenue which will come from property rent, construction permits, shop license fees, penalties, intergovernmental transfer, all those source that which will accumulate money, and we will invest it on our initiative. And the time frame that will be the more than 1 year. So and the immediate 6 month the feasibility studies, we have to conduct studies to potential revenue from for the studies are the same that as we mentioned, that property rentals and penalties and fees that we will do on we will invest on that. And number two is stakeholder consultation. We will engage financial institutions, government agencies, and local business at financial needs. And number three, if we need some legislative framework, we will do those legislation and implement necessary legislation to collect more fees, or to execute or to remove some obstacle that might come into the into between the execution. So through legislation we can remove those obstacles. And number four, intergovernmental fund negotiation. We will focus on securing grants and subsidies from provincial government, because provincial government is the main source of financer for local government in our province. And to monitoring to regularly track revenue performance and adjust strategies uh, accordingly, to ensure sustainability. These steps will prioritize within the initial timeline to secure funding effectively. So we can from first 6 months we can we will try or struggle have to secure funding for the first phase. And 6 to 12 month continued financing, continue consultation with the financial institutions, secure funding for medium term projects, and partner engagement, further develop partnerships with non-governmental organization and private sector to provide both capital and expertise. We want to we seek from non-governmental organization or the financial institutions to give us assistance and financial support as well. Citizen involvement, increase community engagement through workshops and feedback session, and adapt initiative based on local needs and suggestions. We will involve our communities and take their feedbacks, and if their suggestions are well enough, we will bring those changes according to their needs. And in the last, beyond 1 year strategy for managing financial sustainability of our initiative, sustaining and scaling a financing strategy, ongoing revenue monetizing. Regularly track and analyze revenue streams to identify growth opportunities, diversification, of course, explore additional funding sources such as grants and partnership to enhance financial resilience, and capacity building, train local staff and stakeholders to manage funds effectively and seek new financial opportunities as well. Safeguard during budget constraint, safeguarding during budget constraint, prioritization, focus on essential projects and service to maintain core activities and cost management. Implement cost saving measures and efficiency improvement to stretch resources. So that's what my plan is to to for financial strategy. That's what I'm looking for. That's it. If somebody have any questions, so you can ask.
Thank you very much, Mayor
I hope
Kazi.
I'm on time.
Just okay, let's just move to the next. We already took notes of these your presentations, and then we I think it will be easier if we just combine everyone, and then we'll discuss the key takeaway. So I see Mayor Annie, are you ready? Thank you very much. You have around 7 to 8 minutes. Thank you.
7 to 8. Hi. Okay, thank you, Dr. Maisty. Sorry. Okay, my initiative on Module 6 is about revitalizing urban space for improving quality of life, demolition of abandoned building in strategic location. So as a background, this initiative is actually to demolish structures. It's actually a Highland Towers. It's a towers, particularly in cases where safety is a concern. So the rationale behind of this initiative is actually for first is for safety concern. The building has shown signs of severe structural damage after the incident in 1993, and it has been 31 years until now. It's still standing there. So it's for economic factors, the cost of repairs and the cost of repairing and retrofitting aging buildings can exceed the costs associated with demolition and new construction. So demolish these unsafe structures can free up valuable land for new developments that meet modern safety and also design standards, and also for urban revitalizing and also urban renewal, and also for redevelopments. If we can replace this unsafe building with new safe and functional development, it actually can enhance a community quality of life as well. So for the first question is, what is your financing strategy for this initiative? We try to looking at collaborate or partnership for cost sharing during the demolition of the dilapidated building. Second, we would like to secure grants and also incentives from national and state level for maintenance of the public parks after the demolitions of the building, because it has something to do with the land status, because the land is still have some owners entitled to that buildings. So we actually try also to utilize federal and state funding resources, and we are trying to get developer when new developments will take place in the future, and also we try to use components of tax revenue and also tax revenue, like for tax revenue we use our residential and also commercial industry vacant land and special properties that we can take it as our revenue. And also from non-tax revenue, I think this is not the latest slide that I have given to son. I think this is the latest one. This is not the latest one. This is different. I think we send you the second slide. I think this is a previous slide. So we have a new slide actually. Never mind, I just read what we have on the new slide. No. The previous slide, please. So we are trying actually to rope in private investors to share the demolition costs that will benefit them as landowner for future development. We don't send to this one. Okay, it's Okay, so for implementation step, sorry, doctor, this is not the latest slide that we sent to you. We have the latest slide. Maybe I
No
can.
problem. I think you can just share with the latest during your presentations, and we're taking notes out of that.
Okay,
So I
okay.
think it's fine. Yeah.
So actually there are there are 9 initiatives for financing strategy for the initiative. So the other one is actually implement cost recovery strategies like placing tax delinquent properties or getting judgment against owners that will help the council to recoup some of the demolition cost, because this is actually very localized issue, just to uh, uh, yes, just to what I mean is to uh, to demolish the specific buildings. That's why we would like to uh, uh, find out as more as revenue, or as more as collaboration that we can do with the private sectors, with the landowners at the adjacent areas. And also maybe we can also secure federal grants under the city beautification program. And also maybe we can establish demolition funds, and also we can seek out grants from foundations or other entities interested in supporting for neighborhood revitalization efforts. For the implementation steps, first we will do the we will assess the demolition cost, develop a detailed budget to understand the full financial implication, calculate the cost associated with each demolition project, like including labor, materials, disposal, and also permits. Second, we will assess the potential benefit such as increased property surrounding value, improve safety, and also for future development strategy. And also maybe for the implementation steps, we could also identify funding resources like judgment against property owner to recover demolition costs for abandoned owner building. So for 6 and 2 months, we will allocate uh, municipal resources, setting funding from general budget for demolition on the safety basis. That is actually from our own revenue, municipal revenue. Collaborating with landowners to amplify the impact and sustainability of demolition funding. And also maybe we can facilitate land banking, where we can negotiate with state or local council to acquire the land, maintain and also repurpose vacant buildings for community redevelopment, because land is actually belongs to state government lah in our context. For if on the right side, on a beyond 1 year strategy for managing financial sustainability of the initiative, we would like to propose use early warning databases. When maintaining a database, proactively identify at-risk properties that can help community intervene early and potentially avoid more costly demolition needs down the line. And also maybe we can get a steady grants and also incentive from national and state level for maintenance of the public parks after the demolition. So it's a very localized case study based on our through initiative at my local area, Dr. Kasari. For that, I end my presentation. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Dr. Ani. I think yeah, it's the one that you share is more details, but we have taken the notes on that. I think it's really you actually have done what Kathleen mentioned earlier, to see things from holistically. So yeah, that's why you put lots of strategies on different aspect that I think it's really helpful. We have one more presentation from my Mayor Bagat. If she is from Isma municipality, if the mayor is here.
This one is
Mayor Bagat. Okay, it seems that we could not get hold of the Mayor Bagat. So Sam, would it possible just to bring in Mayor? Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Yes,
Good
please.
afternoon. Good afternoon. Greetings, everyone. He had just left for a meeting. So if it is permissible, I will be sharing his statements that he
Yes,
had
please.
shared in the meeting. Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Yes, please. We have his slides on the screen now, and you have
Yeah,
around 7 minutes, if
yeah.
possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it is the project that has been designed for smart user resilient communities adopting climate smart agriculture in local economic development. As SMA has been the municipality that has been totally dominant of rural settings, and it does have a very good perspective for promoting smart agriculture and especially climate smart agriculture, and that promotes local economic development. That does have a huge potentiality. That is why the project has been selected. And under the question, what is your financing strategy for this initiative? Some of the points, some of the allocations of potential allocations of the resources have been stated over here. At first, as it is a rural municipality, it does have a very a less amount of internal revenue generating capacity compared to the municipalities and metropolitan cities in Nepal. As we know, as you might have known, that there are four categories of local governments: metropolitan, sub-metropolitan, and municipalities and rural municipalities. And we belong to the rural municipalities, and that is why fiscal equalization grant has been the majority of the portion has been allocated over there, and that for that we will be allocating some of the amounts from there, resources from there. And while talking about the one source revenue, municipal income, it has been allocated, it will be allocated up to 20%. It will also include the fees and other charges, permits, licensing, and community forest, etc., as stated by our previous mayors. And the time frame for the period will be, it will continue for the year, but it may also vary according to the needs of the project and initiative. And the development partners and donor funding support will also be aligned over here. And the time frame has been kept as 6 to 12 months. And in the second question, what are your plans to implement your choice of financing strategy? That is, how would you, prioritize your implementation steps based on your financing strategy? That is the question. And there are some of the immediate points. The steps that will be followed are feasibility studies. At first, we need a feasibility study. There we will be assigning some of the experts, and we will be having consultations that are consultations with different types of experts that are required for this initiative. And we have some of the experts from the government entities, federal government entities as well at the district level. And we have also approached to National Agricultural Resource Center and NAST also. And we will be consulting with the experts and including other required human resources over there. And cost assessment will also be made. Consultation, having intensive consultations with the credit and financial institutions, insurance companies, especially the academia, including adjoint municipalities also will be aligned over there, because we are also making some of the discussions with our adjoint rural municipalities and local governments for promoting decentralized cooperations, and especially the local level stakeholders or citizens, where our main beneficiaries, main project initiative beneficiaries will be the indigenous communities, especially who reside over here, who are female farmers. We will prioritize. That's why their voices will be heard, will be kept on priority, because all the initiatives will round around based on the needs of the citizens, especially the women and marginalized communities and indigenous communities. And enable legislative measures of the government, etc. We will make some of the amendments in our legislative procedures. Required procedures will also be developed. And what is your strategy to engage partners to provide capital or non-capital offer initiatives? Implementation plan is there. And the academia, National Agricultural Research Center, NAST, NGOs, and local level CDOs will also be engaged. And we are also exploring other stakeholders on that as well. And in number next, what is your strategy to engage citizens and other stakeholders? Is I have already stated that the farmers, especially the women, marginalized groups, and most importantly, the indigenous communities will be engaged in the initiative from the very beginning of designing and ideating of the initiative. And if your financing strategies includes international finances, what kind of actions necessary to secure such financial, for example, enable some of the components are there. Then actions needed to incorporate internal finances. We have pointed out some of the points over here. We will enable essential legislative measures. Then we will make assessment and develop impact data baseline data for that, and we will also initiate collaboration with multi-stakeholders at the local level, provincial level, and federal level governments as well. I think that's it. It's been quite short for now. Yeah, okay. And the steps we will take to secure the selected financing strategy in the medium-term timeline, feasibility study, cost assessment, and consultation with financial institutions and other relevant stakeholders, and enabling legislation. These are also broadly taken over here because we could not make the time to make discussions regarding that. But I would like to assure here that the mayor and the other stakeholders will be making some of the intensive discussions over there as well. And what is the strategy to engage citizens and other stakeholders? The farmers special. Oh, I think it is a same. I have repeated the first slide. And beyond 1 year strategy for managing financial sustainability of the initiative. While coming to the concern that ensuring sustainability of the project, the steps will be followed to sustain and scale up our financing strategy. Will be that we will approach other funding spaces. For example, including government and non-governmental organizations, because there are different 4 types of grants provisions by the federal government, and we do have also other options of funding from our provincial governments as well. There are special grants and conditional grants as well, but we will looking for other funding sources with our own governments, tiers of governments as well. And intergovernmental or horizontal cooperation will also be adopted to scale up the initiative. And learning sharing will also be made among the governments. And we will showcase and lobby, or showcasing or lobby will be made at the federal and provincial governments. Initiatives will also be aligned with the prioritized projects or initiatives connecting with the project banks of provincial and federal government, because the federal government and provincial government have been making initiatives to develop some of the special project banks that they are some of the bankable projects that they will be intending to directly support to the local governments. That is why we will connect our initiative with this as well. And it will be this initiative will be scaled up in other local governments, and collaborative projects between the local and provincial governments will also be developed further. Because in my province has been searching for collaborative initiatives with the provincial and local government. It has been making assessment to find out some of the local economic development initiatives or any climate smart initiatives. So that is why we will also lobby for that as well. And it has also stated that it will be developed as a successful project through the decentralized cooperation, showcasing good initiatives in localizing the sustainability development goals. We could not make more discussions on this topic because we were making discussions while sending this document to UNESCO. But certainly we will be making our initiatives for meeting the SDGs goals as well. I think that's it for now. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for speaking on behalf of the Mayor Bhagat. I think since we have all the 3 presentations shared, I think it would be possible to share just the Miro board, if that's possible, so that we can discuss a few takeaways. I think since a couple of things that pop up quite often with regard to strategies in the immediate term is feasibility studies, cost assessment, baseline data development, budget assessment. I think recall to what Kathleen mentioned earlier, this part, I think, while the mayors are mentioning basis by basis, but while combining all these different type of studies, is actually relate to what she mentioned about project preparation studies. And the one that I feel like might be important is to do market soundings, just to see like whether how the markets, especially if related to cost recovery strategies, and to see like how these the markets will or the privates will respond to the policies that going to be implemented. It's going to be critical for that. And then for the, let me see, I think the also on the strategies below on the 6-month period, I think, yes. Many of you were mentioning about engaging the stakeholders. I think couple of modules earlier in this academy, we also discussed about stakeholder engagement plan. I think those are quite critical, to especially to start with the lobbying and later on, and I think identifying what kind of stakeholders you're going to approach and how to approach them, when to approach them, what kind of communication strategies. I think for example, in Ampang Jaya, Mayor, and you also mentioned about different type of programs and campaigns on promotions. I think those can be streamlined, targeting the different stakeholders, which is, I think it's great. And then I like that a lot of user group establishment is also there, like with the, I think this is with the case of if I'm not mistaken, the case of Turbat, like then for the 6 to 12 months, I think it's worth noting that from the discussion we have earlier on the project preparations strategies, it's good to link the studies on the earlier studies, the feasibility studies, cost assessment, budget assessment, policy studies with the policy development that might be necessary for the policy implementations. I think there are for example, in the case of Ampang Jaya, you do mention about a need to have legal actions and regulatory actions. So I think a policy that works parallel with these strategies would be very useful, as well as business planning. So I think this link to the studies of doing the market soundings and then create the business planning or how to implement. I think the presence of business planning is particularly necessary. We wanted to approach on an investment, and then on the strategies 6 to 12 months. I noted from the shared sessions with CDIA, Kathleen, and then also with the last with the TPLC, I think it's the institutional and capacity roadmap. It's useful for, and then creating the project implementation structure. So this I think can be an added points of the mayor's initiative plan. For to sustaining the project, I think the key takeaway that I'm taking from the discussion is institutionalizing the implementations. I think Mayor Annie and then Mayor Cassis mentions also about the SOP, capacity building, putting in place monitoring and evaluations, including auditing. Then to map also the new potential developments, but this institutionalizing the implementations mechanism could be very helpful in tying all these things together. I think those are the key takeaways that I took notes from your presentations, as well as from the discussions with our expert earlier. This Miro board, I think you will have access to that. I think we also take notes on the side with regard specific on your presentations. Thank you very much anyway to prepare, to think through so much and very comprehensive way on the your financing strategies. I'm really, really happy with how it turns out. And thanks. We're reaching out to the end of the sessions. We only have a couple of announcements later, and I think Kurt is here also to give his closing remark. So for the feedback sessions, please, the doodle poll link is no longer valid. So for those of you that are filling in doodle poll, please use the spreadsheet that shared with you last week. So the virtual session will happen next week. It will be taking your time around 30 minutes, I believe. So Dr. Ani, could you, I mean, like later on also, like I think sharing, filling in the spreadsheet, please. And I think our guest 40 is here, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
We sent tweet. You sent it already this morning. I'm sorry for the late
Okay.
reply. We sent it
Okay.
already.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Because the message that I got from ESCAP colleagues that the doodle poll link is no longer valid, so we cannot access those information. So the spreadsheet is much preferred in this case, so that it's easier to if you could please have your staff check on that as well. So the table is also for submitting the initiative. So this table that we share here, there are some initiative that we have not received. I think that's what the message I got. So with that, I think we'll have with your submissions, then we'll give feedback to mayors by this Friday. So with that, I end this and hand over to Kurt for the last 2 minutes for his closing remarks so that we can
Thank you very much,
finally
Lindsay.
finish on time. Kurt, please.
Thank you. I'll try to talk fast and be very, very brief. Honorable Mayors, thank you again for joining. As you know, today's session really concludes the formal modules of the Academy, but not the Academy itself, not your engagement, and not the support from partners. As Oki indicated, we will still be scheduling feedback sessions on your initiatives, and we will still organize the conclusion of the class and the graduation ceremony. So we'll be back in touch with you as we develop the options and confirm resources and possible venues for that final activity of the Academy. One of the early mayors, and I guess one of the mayors in the early classes, one of the first classes of the Academy said, once you're in the Academy, you're always in the Academy. And I think you saw over the course of the modules that we've brought back, alumni, and we actually still hear from mayors in previous classes, telling us how they're doing or what support they could use. Some have gone on to do voluntary local reviews. So there's a lot that is still active and pending in the Academy, including the elaboration of your initiatives that have been discussed and how you're actually going to implement them. But just very briefly, as a quick summary, we started the Academy with why cities are essential partners to address global challenges, whether they be climate change, implementation of SDGs, and some of the issues that you're facing in your local communities. We talked about the context of multiple crises that intersect in cities, and you know better than any what those crises are and how they are impacting your initiatives, your communities, and the priorities that you need to establish with your citizens. The faculty partners, and I just want to take an opportunity just very quickly to, once again, thank all of the partners in the Academy and the faculty from UN Habitat, UCLG ASPAC, UNU, Institute for Advanced Study of Sustainability, OKI in particular, IGES, and very importantly, the Association of Pacific Rim Universities and their partner universities who have all come together to deliver this curriculum over the 6 modules. It's an impressive, I hope you agree, it's an impressive array of talent and expertise that has been kind of mobilized to support you as mayors. But that faculty delivered really a core curriculum that highlighted the importance of urban planning, of building resilience strategies, of opportunities to deploy technologies and leverage smart city solutions. You heard over the course of the Academy the importance of multi-stakeholder engagement and some solutions, including nature-based solutions, that are common throughout all of the modules. And today you saw the complexities of financing those solutions and the many considerations and factors that build what we would call bankable projects. As you elaborate your initiatives, I mean, keep in mind this one point that we tried to make in all of the Academy classes. that financial institutions and national governments, as they are considering what to finance and, with ever depleted resources, demonstrating a robust process that brings, a core process to developing your initiatives, whether it be looking at the urban and territorial planning, how it aligns with and intersects with your resilience strategy, so that the solutions are sustainable and can be implemented over a longer period of time, that you've actually considered deployment of appropriate technologies for your own circumstances, that you've engaged your citizens, and that you have a sound financial proposal. Those are all considerations. And again, financial institutions, national governments with limited resources have to look at those that have a strong foundation for success. And hopefully that's what you're seeing and what you're elaborating through your own initiatives. So I just wanted to, on behalf of all the partners, thank you for participating to this point. Again, the Academy is not over. We have kind of I would say, still a long way to go on elaborating the initiatives, providing feedback, seeing them finalized, so that to the point that you're comfortable sharing them with and implementing them in your communities. And then again, we still have a kind of a final activity that we'll be back in touch with all of you on for options for a closing graduation ceremony. So thank you again, and thanks to the faculty, and we will be in touch very, very soon. Oki, over from me. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Kurt. I have nothing else to say. That's thank you. And then I will not hold everyone back from their lunch or delayed lunch. Thank you very much, and hope to see you again in the feedback sessions and the final sessions. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.